We covered trailer 2 with a full breakdown video. However, Rockstar has also given us an entire custom GTA 6 dedicated website with over 70 screenshots and tons of information, and the website is just to get started on the breakdown for this website. So, first on the website, we have the overview of the game, which is what's going to be used for the main description for it. Even on PlayStation as well, we can kind of see that confirmed here. So, it states, Jason and Lucia have always known the deck is stacked against them, but when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a criminal conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. Just a recipe for a great story, very exciting. Now, something I do want to mention here on the website that's a bit hidden, and shout out to the GTA Wiki guys for letting me know about this. So when we scroll down to Jason holding Lucia here, we can actually see the back of a new Cabrio version of the Ubermax Sentinel Classic, which is very cool. And the second part of that video, which is going to be right before Lucia's description, we're going to see a Paragon R making a return from GTA 5. Plus, we also see a Dodge Caravan Taxi as well throughout these two shots here, the front and the back. So, very cool. So, let's move on to the characters. So, firstly, we have Jason Duvall. Jason wants an easy life, but things just keep getting harder. Jason grew up around grifters and crooks. After a stint in the army trying to shake off his troubled teens, he found himself in the Keys doing what he knows best, working for local drug runners. It might be time to try something new. Meeting Lucia could be the best or worst thing to ever happen to him. Jason knows he'd like it to turn out, but right now it's hard to tell. So basically, Jason grew up in a rough life surrounded by crooks, and he decided to go to the army at a young age. After getting out of the army, he decided to work for drug runners, and it seems like Lucia is a bad influence on them when it comes to doing certain things, like heists, for example, as we see in trailer 2. I doubt Jason actually wants to do these. I think it's more of him doing it because he wants to do it for Lucia, if that makes sense. Now, something I do want to point out in the screenshots of Jason here, we see him fishing, which definitely confirms this is probably going to be an activity we're going to be able to do, so I'm very excited about that. And in this shot here, we see the Coquette D10, yet again making a return in the background here. Continuing to Lucia Caminos. So, from Rockstar's website, Lucia's father taught her to fight as soon as she could walk. Life has been coming at her swinging ever since. Fighting for her family landed her in the Leonida Penitentiary. Sheer luck got her out. Lucia's learned her lesson, only smart moves from here. More than anything, Lucia wants the good life her mom has dreamed of since her days in Liberty City. But instead of half-baked fantasies, Lucia is prepared to take matters into her own hands. Fresh out of prison and ready to change the odds in her favor, Lucia is committed to her plan no matter what it takes. So wow, Lucia is a tough, street-smart survivor who's had a hard life, especially with prison on top of everything, and she wants to basically have a better life for her mom by doing sort of like illicit things with Jason, which we kind of see again throughout trailer 2 in the screenshots as well. And in this screenshot here, I want to point out the Gloriana plate. It should say Leonida, but it doesn't, and I'll explain why later in the video. Now, moving along, we have Cal Hampton. What if everything on the internet was true? Jason's friend and a fellow associate of Brian's, Cal feels safest hanging at home, snooping on Coast Guard comms with a few beers and some private browser tabs open. Cal's at the low tide of America and happy there. Casual paranoia loves company, but his friend Jason has bigger plans. So it seems Cal is like a laid-back conspiracy theorist who finds comfort in isolation, eavesdropping on Coast Guard chatter and browsing the web in secrecy, while content living a normal life, but Jason is aiming for something much bigger. Now, in regards to the screenshots, it seems like mini golf is going to be something we're going to be able to do as an activity, so that's fun. And speaking of activities, it seems like shooting pool is also something we're going to be able to do as well, so many activities, many new ones. I'm very excited for this. Next up, we have Booby Ike, and yes, his actual name is Booby, which is pretty funny. That's Rockstar's sense of humor for you. So it's all about Hart, the Jack of Hearts. So Booby Ike is a local Vice City legend and acts like it, one of the few to transform his time on the streets into a legitimate empire spanning real estate, a strip club, and a recording studio. Booby's all smiles until it's time to talk business. The club money pay for the studio, and the drug money pay for it all. Booby might seem like he's just out for himself, but it's his partnership with the young aspiring music mogul Draquan for Only Raw Records that he's most invested in. Now they just need a hit. Now, in regards to the screenshots, we get to see the outside of the Jack of Hearts strip club, and the car he's climbing out of here seems to be the Albany Emperor from GTA 5. Continuing, we have Draquan Priest. So Draquan was always more of a hustler than a gangster, even when he was dealing on the streets to make ends meet. Breaking into music was the goal. Now that he's signed the Real Dimes, Draquan's days of booking acts into Booby Strip Club might be numbered as he sets his sights on the Vice City scene. Now, in regards to screenshots, we don't really have much from Draquan. However, in the artwork for him, we do see an updated
दोस्तों अज मैं सोनू जमा बिल्कुल नवा प्लेटफार्म दसन लग गया जिहदे उपर बच्चा बच्चा पैसे कमा सकदा तेरे
version of the Dubsta, of course being based on the G-Wagon, this one seeming to have a body kit on similar to the Brabus version, so very cool. Now, in regards to Real Dimes, Baylux and Roxy, aka Real Dimes, have been friends since high school. Girls with the savvy to turn their time shaking down local dealers into cold hard cash via rap tracks and a relentless social media presence. An early hit single with the local rapper Downplay took Real Dimes to new heights. Now, after 5 years and a whole lot of trouble, they're signed to Only Raw Records, hoping lightning can strike twice. Now, in regards to screenshots, we see a new Obey sedan, which seems to be based on an Audi A5. Very nice. And in the artwork for them, we see a Comet S2 Cabrio right in between them making a return as well. Moving on to Raul Bautista. So, confidence, charm, and cunning. Raul's a seasoned bank robber, always on the hunt for talent, ready to take the risks that bring the biggest rewards. Raul's recklessness raises the stakes with every score. Sooner or later, his crew will have to double down or pull their chips from the table. Now, we don't really have too much going on in his screenshots, but in the one with the car interior, and shout out to the guys on GTA Wiki for this, as I did have a tough time figuring out what car this is based on the interior. So based on the unique swooping center console and the dash, this interior seems to be based on the Mercedes W211 E63 AMG interior, and it looks fantastic for sure. Now, I do want to mention the screen in the center. We do see the interior of one more car towards the end of this video, but it seems like that will be the default screen for most cars with a touchscreen radio. Continuing to this video clip from the website, we have some Crown Vic cop cars, but mainly here we have the OG Dubsta from GTA 5, and on the left here we get a look at what seems to be a shafter. And lastly, we have Brian Header. So Brian's a classic drug runner from the golden age of smuggling in the Keys, still moving product through his boatyard with his third wife, Lori. Brian's been around long enough to let others do his dirty work, looks like a Leonida beach bum, moves like a great white shark. Brian's letting Jason live rent-free at one of his properties, so long as he helps with local shakedowns, and stops by for Lori's sangria once in a while. So like we discussed in the Trailer 2 breakdown, the house we saw at the beginning of Trailer 2, Jason's living there for free because of the work and jobs that he does for Brian. It makes sense. Now, there isn't much I noticed in Brian's screenshots. However, in this one here with the car in the background, if we look at the rear tire here, we can actually see the tire size. It's a 265 wide tire on a 20-inch wheel. Now, it's possible this is just going to be like a copy-paste thing for most of the off-road tires just so that it has more detail, but if it actually changes based on the size of / car, that's going to be crazy. I doubt it. You know, I'm probably looking at this a bit too much into detail, but the fact that Rockstar is making these tires look so realistic is very impressive regardless. But anyways, yeah, so 8 main characters there that we've covered that Rockstar gave us that we know about so far. Not bad at all. I'm really liking the story Rockstar is putting together here. This is going to be a very fun game to play. I mean, even if this was a movie, I'd still be really excited to just watch it, and the fact that we get to play it is very exciting. Now let's move on to locations. So we have 6 main areas from the postcards Rockstar showed us. We have Vice City, of course referencing Miami. Leonida Keys, referencing the Florida Keys. We have the Grass Rivers, referencing the Everglades. We have Port Gellhorn, which seems to be based on Panama City, Florida. We have Ambrosia, which seems to be inspired by the city of Clewiston, Florida in real life. Then we have Mount Calaga, which actually seems to be inspired by Providence Canyon State Park in Georgia, the state of Georgia. And yes, that means this location is outside of the state of Florida / Leonida. And this makes a lot of sense based on some of the license plates that we've seen. So that state could be called Gloriana. So we could literally have two states on this map. Obviously Leonida being the one taking up the majority of it, and then like a small portion of Georgia in the northern part of the map. Regardless, this is going to be a massive, massive map for sure. I'm very excited. So now let's get into the locations and the screenshots for each one in a bit more detail. So firstly, we have Vice City. Now, the description from the website: we're a long way from the 80s, but Vice City is still the sun and fun capital of America. The glamour, hustle, and greed of America captured in a single city. Each neighborhood has something to offer, from the pastel art deco hotels and bright white sands of Ocean Beach, to the bustling bananerias of Little Cuba and the bootleg brands of Mishawaka Flea Market, out to the VC Port, the cruise ship capital of the world. And these screenshots are just phenomenal. A good amount of detail in some of these, a little too much detail. So let's look over the one facing the main city here. So on the bottom left, we have NPCs playing basketball. So hopefully that's a confirmation of that activity also being available to do. On the bottom right, we have the cops busting a red sedan there, which seems to be an updated variant of the Karen Sultan, as the front end is a bit different, but is still recognizable as a Sultan. Now I do want to clarify that I will be naming the cars in here as best I can, but the ones that are too blurry I will not be mentioning because they're not easily as identifiable. They might look like 5 cars instead of 1. Those I won't be mentioning. So anyway, we see an updated Dodge Ram based police truck. We see the Ford Explorer police car, a Ford Transit van, a Coquette D10, an original Baller, a Dinka Segoy, a Carbonizaire, a Comet S2 Cabrio, a Grotti Furia, the original Banshee, a Paragon R. So yeah, everything else is just too blurry / far away or not easily identifiable. Anyway, in the next photo of the beach, you can see how the NPCs have sunburn, sand getting stuck to their feet and body, and even different textures of skin depending on their age and body type. And of course, various activities going on in the background in combination with the detail is just mind-boggling. And to mention here, because why not, the lifeguard ATV shown here is actually using the Varus from GTA 5 that we currently have in the game, but obviously a lifeguard variant of it. Anyway, next up we have a screenshot with the Buffalo STX cop car with some woman getting arrested. And on the left here we see the back end of the updated Imponte Phoenix. And on the right side here we see a minivan taxi, which we saw also in the Jason and Lucia scene from earlier, which is based on the Dodge Caravan. Now moving along to the screenshot looking over the arena, we can see it's called the Sahara Arena. Of course, this is referencing the Kaseya Arena in real life, where the Miami Heat basketball team play. In the case of GTA 6, the basketball team is called the Narcos, which is pretty funny. And behind it, we see the port of Vice City with a cruise ship sitting there as well, just like real life port of Miami. But yeah, just a gorgeous looking city, especially at night. The draw distance too is just insane as well. Now, in regards to cars, on the bottom left here I can see what seems to be the back of the VSTR, the back of the OG Coquette. The Stallion also seems to be making a return, the Tempesta, and the Astron here as well. The rest of the cars are just too difficult / blurry to tell, unfortunately, just completely unknown. And our last screenshot for Vice City, we have this area in downtown with tons of graffiti and bikers doing crazy things. In regards to vehicles, we have a Nagasaki Outlaw making a return with some wild custom wheels, the Sanchez dirt bike, an off-road variant of the Street Blazer, a donk version of the Impaler LX, the Vigero ZX convertible. Now, something funny that I wanted to point out here with the Vigero ZX convertible, this is how you can see that I've looked way too far into these screenshots. If you look at the rear quarter windows, you can see that they're still up, the triangular shaped ones with the convertible top down. So that was a issue with the Chop Shop DLC when the Vigero ZX came out, the convertible variant. and then Rockstar actually fixed it with the next update 6 months later. But in the GTA 6 trailer, it's still broken. So I just thought that was kind of funny that Rockstar sort of missed that. But anyway, continuing, we also have an updated variant of the OG Buffalo here on the right. Now, this red car appears to be brand new here in the center, and I can't really tell what it's based on, although I do believe it has some like BMW influence in there. It's just really difficult to tell overall, but it's definitely a brand new car. This car does not exist in GTA 5. Next up, on to the Leonardo keys, again inspired by the Florida keys. Gateway to paradise, the dress code is casual, the bars are closed. Life in this tropical archipelago isn't flashy, but it's easy. Get your buzz on and pull up a deck chair, but look out, you are right on the doorstep of some of the most beautiful and dangerous waters in all of America. So, in the first screenshot here, it's looking absolutely gorgeous. The colors of the water, the individual little islands, the cargo ships constantly moving around in the background, the boats, the jet skis, etc. Now, in regards to vehicles, we see the obvious Dodo seaplane here on the right. Down below on the left, we see what appears to be the Bobcat XL making a return from GTA 5, and a jet ski trailer. Plus, all the seaweed on the shore kind of built up there, just incredible detail. Moving up to the street here, most of these cars are just too blurry to tell what they are, but on the left here we can see what appears to be the Vapid Speedo van, and a Canis Mesa. And those are pretty much the only two we can easily spot there. Next up, we have a very cool shot of some tourists here.
Order food you love with Food Panda. Download the app and order now.
And I believe this giant whale sculpture in the background is referencing the Betsy lobster sculpture from real life, which is pretty cool that Rockstar incorporates little things like this. We also see the obvious iguana on the left here, super detailed. And above that we see a man riding a bicycle and his dog following right beside him. So the realism and liveliness of this map with the NPCs is just insane. Now, in regards to the vehicles on the left here, we see what appears to be the Yosemite 1500 making a return. We see the back of a Sprinter van. And on the right here, we see what appears to be a non-lifted variant of the Walton L35. And the car in the center here seems to be a regular variant of the Impaler SZ. So probably like a non-performance variant, just a regular Chevy Impala base car instead of the SS. Again, reconfirming all the previous speculation on most of the recent GTA 5 Online DLC cars being reskins from GTA 6. This is pretty much confirming it here. In this next shot, we see an NPC scuba diving, which this is definitely going to be another activity that we're going to be able to do. Very excited about that. And of course, the detail here with the sea life is just gorgeous. Now, in the next shot of all the boats together here, what amazes me is how every single boat here is a different model. You got open fishermen's, with and without the roof. Some of them with multiple outboard engines, some of them with only one, some large and wider than others, speed boats, regular boats. The selection of boats and jet skis in this game is going to be insane for sure. Tons and tons of variety. Now let's move on to the grass rivers, again inspired by the Florida Everglades. So welcome to the wetlands, the untamable jewel of Leonidas' crown. You never know what lies beneath the surface of this primordial expanse. The gators may be the most famous attraction, but there are far deadlier predators and weirder discoveries among the mangroves. So in our first screenshot here, we see the obvious airboat, plus the mud all over the NPCs and their clothes, which is just great detail. The alligator there as well. In this next shot, we have a great looking view here. Now this NPC dinghy boat down here, we see some NPCs fishing. We got the ducks and birds everywhere. Just a great shot overall. Now for vehicles, we have this silver truck here, which seems to be another updated Bison based on the Dodge Ram, of course. Moving up to the left, we have the Karen Rebel making a return. Another Dodge Ram. Another non-lifted version of the Walton L35. The Speedo van. A Sand King XL. A Journey camper returning. The original Dubsta. a Dinka Segoy, the Bravado Dorado, and that's pretty much all I can spot there. The rest of them are just too blurry to recognize what they are for certain, or just newer cars in general that we don't know of yet. And in this last screenshot here, we have a police chase going on. So some key things I want to point out here is how the windshield wipers actually clean only the section of the windshield that they touch, just like in real life. Phenomenal detail. And this truck is the original Bravado Bison from GTA 5. And the police cars behind it is the new Ford Explorer base police car, which we've seen in both trailers already, just multiple times. We've already seen this car. And again, just the insane level of detail in the foliage here is just incredible. Next up, we have Port Gellhorn, of course based on Panama City, Florida, as I mentioned earlier. So, live hard. This is Leonida's Forgotten Coast. Cheap motels, shut down attractions, and empty strip malls won't bring the tourists back. But there's a new economy in this once popular vacation spot. It's fueled by malt liquor, painkillers, and truck stop energy drinks. Jump on a dirt bike and hold on to your wallet. So in the postcard here, we see a passenger train, which we're most likely going to be able to ride around the map. And in regards to cars, on the left here, we have the Ballistic Compact making a return from GTA 5. And the pickup truck next to it here appears to be a normal version of the Walton L35. And that's basically all we can see here from the postcard, but overall very industrial looking, and looks like a massive section of the map. So for our first screenshot here, we have the Scarlet Motel, and we have a brand new Canis vehicle based on the Jeep Scrambler, which is very cool. I'm excited about that one. And the interior lobby of this motel is clearly modeled, so most definitely a place that we're going to be able to enter, which is fantastic. In this next shot here, we see the interior of one of the cars, particularly the back seat. And the main thing I wanted to point out here is how detailed the texture of the plastic and materials is. And in the background, we do see the Enos Jubilee making a return from GTA 5 as well. Continuing to Delight, which is a strip club, we have a few vehicles here. So firstly on the left, we have a new Vapid SUV, which seems to be based on a second-gen Ford Explorer. On the bottom left here, we see the Albany Emperor making a return. And in the middle, we see an updated Phoenix, which we saw in the trailer as well, looking fantastic there. Continuing, we see a Chevy Sidestep, which appears to be the same one from trailer 1, but this time it has a massive lift kit on it. So it definitely seems like we're going to be able to have lift kit upgrades in GTA 6. I'm very excited about that if that's the case. That's something that was highly requested in the community, so hopefully that's the case. That's something that we definitely needed in GTA 5, not just the ability to lower trucks, but also lift them as well. Next to that, we have what appears to be a normal version of the Walton L35 yet again. Above that, we have another van. This one seems to look more like the Bravado Rumpo. And lastly, here on the bottom, we have a new Karin sedan, which is based on the Infiniti Q45. So this seems to be the same car we saw at the end of trailer 2 next to the Tulip, the front end, but then in this shot we get the back end. So now we know what they both look like. Very interesting there. And in this last screenshot, this Vapid truck this guy is leaning on seems to be based on the 10th gen Ford F-150. Continuing, we have Ambrosia, again seems to be based on the city of Clewiston, Florida. So, keeping Leonida sweet, the battle for the health and wealth of Leonida begins here. In the heart of Leonida, American industry and old school values still reign supreme, whatever the cost. The Allied Crystal Sugar Refinery provides the jobs, while the local biker gang provides almost everything else. And that Clewiston city in Florida, that's also what that city is mainly surrounded by, that sugar refinery, the same thing. So Rockstar literally based Ambrosia directly on that, which we can clearly see here in the postcard. Again, just a very industrial style city surrounded by the sugar refinery, so again, makes a lot of sense. So we do have a few vehicles we can spot here. So the main one being the Albany VSTR shown in white here twice, and also the back end of a black one here. It's very strange how we see the VSTR 3 times in this parking lot, but the rest of the cars in this parking lot are just really tough to tell. But the SUV next to the white VSTR on the left appears to be the back end of the Ford Explorer, but a non-cop variant of it obviously. And then the rest of the cars here are just too blurry to tell for certain. Moving over to the parking lot on the left, we have the back of the Landstalker XL. Across from that, behind the tree, we have the Vapid Illusion making a return from GTA 5. Again, sort of reinforcing the fact that the recent GTA 5 DLC cars are not random, they're taken right from GTA 6, even though I guess you can kind of consider that random picks from GTA 6, but it definitely, again, reconfirms speculation that they were just reskins from GTA 6. Anyway, all the way to the left here, we see this white pickup truck, and that one is the Vapid Contender from GTA 5, and that's the first and only time we see it appear in any of the screenshots, trailers, etc. This is the only time you see the Vapid Contender. Again, the rest of the vehicles are just too blurry to tell what they are. So, starting off with our first screenshot of the gas station scene, we can see a biker gang here, and we see different types of Leonida plates, all side by side here, which is pretty cool. On the left, we see political signs, which I think is just really great realism to what's going on in the real world as well. Now, in regards to the cars, these two cars here, I can't really tell what they are. They do seem to be new. And of course, another newer Dodge Ram based truck. However, it does have wheels on it similar to a 3500 dually, which is kind of weird when this one is clearly not a dually, and the wheels are sticking out quite a bit as well. So I'm not sure if that's a glitch from Rockstar or something unintentional, or if we're going to have some crazy wheel options for cars. Anyway, the van here on the right, based on the taillights and key details, it seems like this is an updated version of the Class A Burrito van. Anyway, behind that we have the Impaler LX making an appearance again, but this time in a non-donk form, which is confirming that the customization in this game is going to be insane. And lastly, here for the screenshot hiding on the right, we see the Albany Primo making a return as well. On to our next screenshot, we get a nice shot of Ambrosia, and wow, guys, this map is going to be absolutely massive. Anyway, in regards to cars, on this bottom section here, we see the Boxville making a return from GTA 5. And for the next vehicles, all three of them were towing a boat trailer, which means that we're going to have a lot of variety of vehicles we can tow with and online. You have an SUV here, a camper, and a pickup truck. Now, unfortunately, I can't tell what either of these three are for sure, but the camper does seem to be the Journey from GTA 5. And the cars here on the bridge on the right, unfortunately, they're just too blurry to tell what they are also. Anyway, in this next screenshot, I just wanted to point out the nail polish on this female NPC's fingers and how it's coming off. Just like real life, which is just insane the level of detail we've been seeing. I mean, it's nuts. And the textures of this jacket too are just incredible. I mean, hats off to Rockstar, man. I'm just completely blown away. It's insane how close we're getting to almost real life, you know, with all these crazy details. That's what Rockstar is known for, is the details, and they're just really going all in this time. This game is definitely going to be worth it. Anyway, in this next screenshot, we get some controlled burns happening, which could display what random events could happen in the world, and also how great that fire effect looks with the large cloud of smoke and everything. Wow. And on the top right here, we can see a crop duster. Now, I am speculating here. From what I've read, supposedly there are crop dusters that can put out fires, so that's possibly why it's coming in straight towards that fire. And lastly, for Ambrosia, we have one of my favorite screenshots, and this finally gives us the best look at what we can expect for car interiors in GTA 6. And wow, if we zoom into the speedometer here, we can see that it says Dominator, which of course is the in-game Mustang base car in GTA 5, and this interior is almost an exact replica of the S550 Mustang interior, from the dash to even the reading lights up top. I'm very, very impressed. And this basically confirms the speculation we had in GTA 5 with a couple exclusive interiors we would get here and there over the years. It seems like most of the cars in GTA 6 are going to have unique interiors similar to the real life counterparts, which makes me extremely happy. It just adds even more to the realism of the game, instead of Rockstar just reusing the same interior for 30 muscle cars and the same SUV interior for 40 SUVs. It just makes the game just a lot better overall. Now, looking a bit closer here on the radio screen, we can see some apps including assist functions. And if we look back at the gauge cluster in the center here, we can see the word comfort. meaning that some cars might have different modes, so like sport or track mode for example, just like real life, which makes me even more excited. And the one last thing that I want to mention here is this level of detail in the hair on this guy. Even the hair in his armpits, I mean, my goodness. Someone really asked Rockstar how much realism they wanted, and they just replied with yes. And lastly here, we have Mount Calaga National Park, which again seems to be inspired by Providence Canyon State Park in Georgia. So this will most likely be in the state of Gloriana, which is the parody of Georgia. This will most likely be at the top of the map, similar to how we have Mount Chiliad at the top of the map in GTA 5, which definitely gives us a bit more variety to the map elevation changes and stuff, because as we know, Florida is mainly flat, so this is going to make the map feel a lot more lively and different when you're all the way on the northern part of it. Anyway, so a wild country, room to breathe on the state's northern fringes, a national landmark up against the state's northern border, Mount Calaga offers prime hunting, fishing, and off-road trails. In the lush surrounding backwoods, hillbilly mystics and paranoid radicals live far from the prying eyes of the government. In this first screenshot, we have various dirt bikes returning from GTA Online, the Sanchez, the Manchez, etc., and an updated version of the Blazer there on the left. And wow, the detail and how dirty these bikes get with the mud is insane, and even the clothes of the NPCs, the arms, the helmet, even the goggles as well, very, very impressive. In this next shot, we see a news helicopter, so an updated version of the Maverick. And I think the NPC literally sitting there with the camera is just another piece of great attention to detail and realism. But in the background, we get to see the landscape as well, with tons of mountains and elevation changes. Again, like I mentioned earlier, Florida is very flat, so I'm glad that they're actually including a part of the map like this. I think it's very much needed. Next up, we have some guys hunting, so this most likely confirms that hunting is going to be a thing. And the foliage and textures of the trees here just looks incredible as well. Now, this next shot is absolutely gorgeous. Makes me very excited to drive through some of the potential mountain roads and stuff. And we also have some train tracks up here as well. Now, in regards to cars, we can only spot two here. The second gen Dodge Ram we saw in trailer 2, and what appears to be the original Baller. And down at the bottom here we see what appears to be a brand new car, but unfortunately I can't seem to tell what it's based on. And in the next shot here we see some wildlife, but what I find impressive is all the leaves and branches in the water. The fact that most of the leaves are floating too, just like real life. I mean, wow, they've really thought of everything. And lastly here we got a little river and an NPC kayaking through it, which seems to be like that's going to be another activity we're going to be able to do as well. And the detail from the splashing of the water looks great. We also got a flood gauge here on the left, because this seems to be possibly an off-roading path of some sort. And of course the train up top. So yeah, that's pretty much all we can gather from the entire GTA 6 website. I know it's a long video, but I wanted to get as detailed as I could, and that's why I took so long, because I wanted to do it right for you guys all in one video. I'm surprised Rockstar gave us this much information all at once. I guess it was sort of like their apology for the delay that they announced. It's just weird how it came out of nowhere on a random Tuesday without any prior heads up after a year and a half of silence.